Okay, we're going to start chapter 6, which is functions. The first day is just understanding relations. So we have the situation, pretzels in the cafeteria cost 75 cents each. How many would 5 pretzels cost? That's pretty easy. I know you guys can do that one. So you would just take 5 times 75 cents. So when you plug in 5, your resulting amount would be $3.75. Okay, how much would 10 pretzels cost? So again, easy. And Mr. Thomas thinks that's incredibly expensive for a pretzel. So each time we took the number of pretzels, we multiplied it by 0.75, and we got our answer of $3.75. And we can put those numbers together. What we started with were 5 pretzels and our result of $3.75, and put them into an ordered pair called a relation. So our input was pretzels. Let me change the color here again. Okay, what we started off with was the pretzels. And our output was, after we plugged in the number of pretzels, we found out the dollars. Okay, so a relation is the pairing of 2 quantities as ordered pairs. Set of input with a set of outputs. So we can rewrite that again here, first with words. Pretzels. Sorry, guys. To dollars. And we can also use the numbers, where the number we plugged in goes first. So we plugged in 5, and we got back $3.75. So you see how it's an ordered pair, just like you plug them in into a graph. 5, comma, $3.75. And our other ones we plugged in were 10. And when we plugged in 10, what did we get back? $7.50. So a relation is just a comparing of 2 numbers. This is the number I started with. This is the number I got back. We can map relations. Okay. In the input column, you're going to put the x value. So you'll see there's a value of 0 here. And if there's more than one, we're not going to put the same thing. So there's a 0, a 0, a 0. We're only going to put 1 0 to represent those. And then we also have a 1. So in the x values, right there, right there, right there. Okay, there were 3 zeros. I only write the 0 once. And then I use the 1 that came from right here. For my outputs, I'm going to put my y values. And again, if something number appears twice, we only write it once. So I'm going to fill in these numbers right here. So we're going to go here. So my outputs were 0, 1, and 2. Now to show this relation, what we're going to do is use some arrows. Okay, this is called a mapping diagram. So when I had plugged in 0, I got back 0. See that point right here? So I'm going to draw a line from 0 to 0. When I plugged in 0, I also got back 1. So I'm going to draw a line from 0 to 1. And 0 also mapped with 2. Okay, and my final point was that 1 also went with 2. Okay, so this is called a mapping diagram. We're going to use these to tell if something's a function, but right now we're just practicing the mapping diagram. So again, you match the x value. 0 was matched with 0, and 1, and 2. And the 1 was matched with 2. So create a mapping diagram to show the relation here. Okay, now the input is going to be the student names. So I'm just going to write those. We have John, Harry, I think that's a One Direction guy. John, Harry, Sylvia, Carla, and Mark. Okay, and then in the output, I'm going to put all the different outputs. So I have 60, I have 59, again I'm just going across here. I have 62. Now the next one says 60, but I already have a 60, so I'm not going to write that again. And the next one says 61. I'm going to put that in order. Okay, so all these numbers came from down here. Now I'm going to map. So John goes with 60. Harry with 59. Oh, sorry, I didn't put that one in order. Sylvia with 62. Carla was 60. So again, and Mark was 61. So that's called a mapping diagram. And that's all. We're just mapping right now. I'll show you what that means later. Actually, next. Now, a relation is when you take anything and put it with something else. It matches up. It's an ordered pair relation between the two different quantities. So this is a person and a test score here. Now, there are certain types of relations that are called functions. So every function is a relation, but not all relations are functions. A function is a type of relation that assigns exactly one output to each input, and I'm going to show you what that means. So again, this is my kind of visual for you. There's a whole, here's the world of relations. Functions is a little world inside of it. Okay, so there's lots of relations, but only some of them are functions. So for example, the relation between pressing a key on the keyboard and the letter that appears on the monitor screen. Well, if I press the letter A on the keyboard, or B or C, I get back, if I press A, I get A, B, C. Okay, so again, if we map that, A gives me A, B gives me B, C gives me C. So if this was not a function, to try and help you with that, anytime I press A, only one thing happens. Anytime I press B, one thing happens. I can't put in, so if this was not a function, then when you would press A, anything could happen. And that would be a mess. You wouldn't like that. So a function, you press A, you get one outcome. Okay? There's only one thing that can happen. Here's another one. In this one, I have different items at the store. I have a plate, I have a cup, and I have a bowl. And it says everything in the store is $2. Oops. So again, if I map it, and this is okay, when I put in plate goes with $2, cup goes with $2, bowl goes with $2. All of those are okay. If this was not a function, then when you bought a bowl, it could be anything. So again, it's when I get a bowl, it's always one thing. It's not I can put in bowl and get back a whole bunch of different things. And don't worry, I'll show you what it looks like without. So in here we have high jumpers, their athlete number, like athlete 1, athlete 2, athlete 3, and the height they cleared. So if we map this, okay, and then over here, I'm going to put the heights because the input would be the athlete and the heights. So I have 145, 151, 139, I'm just reading the numbers off the bottom, and 3 151s. So athlete 1 went with 139. If I put in 1, I got back 139. Oh, I'm sorry, that was so right. Sorry, let's erase that. If I put in athlete 1, I get 145. If I put in athlete 2, I get 151. So there's only one line coming off of the input numbers. 3 goes to 139, 4 goes to 151, and 5 goes to 151. So what I want you to see is look at each input, and each input there's only one line coming off of it. It's okay that a lot of them point to the same output, that part's okay, the important part is there's only one line coming off of each of these. So this one is a function. This is a function. In the next example, what we're going to do is flip these around. Okay, so actually let me see if I can do that. So what we're going to do is map the height to the person. So let me delete some of these lines. And we're going to see if doing that leaves us with a function. So in this one, I'm taking the heights, and I'm making them the input. And I'm taking the athletes and putting them to the input, or to the output. So, I got to go back. 139 only went to person 3. So right now, we look good. And 145 matched with only number 1. But the 151 matched with 3 people. This is not a function. So the way to tell if it's not a function is right here, is that if you look at an input number and there's more than one line coming out of it to map, that is not a function. Because that means if I put in 151, I could get back 2, I could get back 4, I could get back 5, and that's not work. It doesn't make sense that if you put a number into a machine, you could get 3 different answers. So today's lesson was just mainly about drawing a mapping diagram and telling if a relation is a function. So if you have your notes filled in, you are done.